Hello to everyone. Once again, my name is Lubovska, Cambridge University Press. Final sound check before we begin the webinar. So now you should hear my voice and see the first slide of the presentation where you can read Cambridge English using projects with young learners. My name is Lubovska, Cambridge University Press, ELT consultant. If you see the first slide and hear my voice, then everything okay and everything works perfectly. Thank you very much. In 1 minute, we'll begin. Hello. First of all, thank you very much to all of those who have managed to join us today. I see so many of you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lubovska. I represent Cambridge University Press. And today we are going to talk about using projects with young learners. And this webinar is within the framework of the whole, Ministry of Education project, which is about organizing and delivering summer language camps throughout Ukraine. So, and today I hope you will get very useful advice on how to organize projects with young learners. So, let's begin. Before we begin, just a short introduction. I represent here Cambridge University Press, which is the publishing business of the University of Cambridge. The University of Cambridge is one of the most prestigious and one of the oldest universities of the whole world, but Cambridge University Press is the oldest publishing house and the oldest university press of the whole world. So we have been operating throughout the world for more than 430 years. Cambridge ELT, English Language Teaching Department, is rather new, but we have already become the biggest subdivision within Cambridge University Press, producing and producing materials for those who teach and those who study English all over the world. So, before we begin, let's talk a little bit about peculiarities of teaching the youngest, as we are talking today about young learners. So, I would like to have the interactive webinar as far as it is possible. So I'm going to communicate with you with the help of chat box. So the chat box, so if I ask you any questions, could you please write to me in the chat box? Could you please write the answers in the chat box? So before we continue, a short notice for you. So if you experience any technical problems, please do not write to me, as I'm not able to help while presenting. So there is one more panelist, Dmitro Kolesnik, who is going to serve as our technical aid and technical support today. Could you please write to Dmitro, write to Dmitro with the questions and describing problems you experience, and he is the one who is going to help you. Thank you very much. So now you are going now to see some statements about teaching in primary school. I want to tell you whether you agree or disagree with them. So, do you agree that teaching should be unemotional and serious? So, if you agree that teaching should be unemotional and serious, write yes. If you disagree, write no. I'm not going to comment right now. Opinions. Okay, mostly you say no. Some people say yes. Okay, good. Then, do you agree that teaching should involve structured fun? By structured fun, I mean that it should be within the structure of the lesson. It should be carefully planned beforehand. Okay, good. I see you write yes. Say no, but not yes. Okay, look at one more statement. Do you agree that teaching should discourage mistakes? Meaning mistakes are bad. So, no, mostly right now. Some people write yes, but mostly. So you disagree with the statement. So I mean that discourage mistakes. I mean that mistakes are bad. Kids shouldn't make mistakes, and probably we should punish them somehow by giving them bad marks and so on. Okay, good. Let's look at one more statement. Do you agree that teaching should be heavily grammar-based? So grammar is everything. Agree that it should be heavily grammar-based. Okay. No, heavily. Yes, no, yes. Okay. Now the answers are more diverse, I should say. Very important. Yes, I agree that grammar is important. Good. So we'll come back to that a little bit later. So now let's move on to another statement. So do you agree that teaching should involve frequent class discussions? Meaning that you should discuss what's going on in the classroom, probably the aims of what you are going to do and what you are going to achieve with the children. I see yes answers. I say not frequent. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for your answers. Do you agree that teaching should encourage mistakes? That mistakes are okay. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. That's not a problem if you make a mistake. Yeah, but we are talking today about the youngest. About young learners and very young learners, aged 6-12. Okay, no yes answers. Don't say that we've learned, that's okay. We've learned, that's okay, good. So thank you very much for your answers. Now the next statement. Do you agree that teaching should involve emotions? Of course, good. Yes, yes, yes. Surely. Good. Most cases. So, not always, you're right. Good, no doubt. Good. Thank you much. Let's continue. Do you agree that teaching should focus on writing and reading? Not only. Say yes, but mostly no, or not only. Okay. Again, we're talking about young learners. So can you imagine first graders writing and reading only? Okay. Good. Then, so now let's compare traditional teaching to traditional teaching approaches with more modern one. So, and if we think about traditional teaching, so there are some stereotypes which sometimes are true, sometimes are not. So, but what we usually imagine when we talk about traditional, or when we think about traditional teaching, so what mostly people say when we ask them, how do you understand traditional teaching? So the answers are usually the following. So people say that traditional teaching is usually heavily grammar-based. So grammar is the basis. We start with learning construction. So we say the aim of the lesson is to teach the kids use present simple, for example. And then we choose vocabulary to match grammar, we choose topics to match grammar, and so on. We do a lot of drills and so on and so forth. So this is usually considered to be traditional teaching as it happened about 50, 70 years ago. Usually, traditional teaching is considered to be unemotional and serious. So, it means that traditional teachers usually say that teaching is not fun, so it's hard work, and it should be serious. So, again, that's what is usually considered by traditional teaching. If we look back in the history, how our parents were taught in school. So traditional teaching is usually focused on writing but not speaking. So lots of activities on writing, filling the gaps, put this word into the correct form, and so on. It's usually one-way communication. The teacher tells the students what to do, and the students are to follow what the teacher says. As a result, we have silent children who can talk. They can write, but they can't talk. Mostly, it is also the result that mistakes in traditional teaching approach are considered to be bad. So if you make a mistake, minus we actually take some points from the general mark from making mistakes. And discipline is usually influenced by fear. So fear not some punishment like beating or spanking, but the fear that the teacher will tell the parents will do something and won't buy a toy and so on and so forth. So this is usually what people say about traditional teaching. And traditional teaching has sometimes been called the I know you don't approach. My favorite, stop, listen, and learn. And when we think about the person behind the approach, we can see an irritable teacher or a very good learner. Irritable because children make mistakes, they can't talk, and bored teacher because kids do their work in writing all the year round, and the teacher is sitting at the desk waiting for the kids to finish an activity. But boring, irritable, but is another approach which is called effective teaching, from the word affection. And effective teaching is something absolutely different from traditional teaching. So let's have a look at what effective teaching is. So effective teaching includes structured fun. So young learners, they just from the kindergarten, or even they were not going to the kindergarten. So it's in their nature to like to play games and to get distracted very often and so on. That's why for the teaching to be effective and effective both. So we should involve fun activities. So we should give the kids an opportunity to enjoy their learning. But these fun activities should be carefully planned. They should be timed. They should be included, intertwined within the structure of the lesson, and it should be carefully controlled by the teacher. Effective teaching also uses the kids' sense of discovery. So they are all great discoverers. So they like to discover the world around them. And that's why if they use this sense as a motivating factor, but not as a demotivating factor, you can be surprised how interested young learners can be in the lessons you give them. Teamwork is also very important, not only between the learners, but also between the teacher and learner. This is our mutual work. So we work and they work, we do that together. Involving emotions is also important, and here the question I usually ask is, which emotions? So you are actually very positive about using emotions, but what emotions should we use? Should we use positive or negative emotions? Only positive, only negative, or maybe both? Both, positive. But usually, of course, positive people say both, positive, both, okay. So you give answers either positive or both. I would say both. So because sometimes anger can work very well. Sometimes there are, so on any emotional level, and this is scientifically proved, it's proved by psychologists, so that on an emotional level, no matter whether these emotions are positive or negative, we learn much better. So sometimes some topics have you ever thought about how anger can trigger the learning process? So has this ever happened to you? Okay. So, before I continue, yes, I see your answers. I just ask yes, I see your answers. So I do not always respond. So, but I see all the answers. Thank you very much for them. So if you write to me privately, only I see your answers. If you write to all the panelists, everyone sees your answers. If you have any technical problems, could you please write to Dmitro Kolesnik, one of the panelists. He's our technical support for today. So if you have any questions to me personally, you can write me privately when I say you have any questions. After each question, you can write questions to me. If I ask you to respond to the activities, just respond to all the panelists or for everyone to see your answers in the chat box. Do not use Q&A for communicating with me. Could you please use the chat box for communicating with me? Okay, good. Move on. So if we talk about effective teaching, it also involves frequent class discussions. So modern teachers usually talk to students, and they usually ask students what they like and what they dislike. They usually ask even the youngest learners their feedback. So whether it was an interesting activity or not really interesting activity. They usually also discuss the objectives of lessons and series of lessons, and they usually let the learners know what they should be able to do in a certain period of time. Mistakes are absolutely okay, because mistakes are a natural part of the learning process, and therefore mistakes cannot be bad. So that's impossible to learn without making mistakes. We also shouldn't forget that we not teach this only the subject. No matter how we love the English language, these are the children we teach. And it's very important to understand the way a child thinks, the way a child memorizes things, the way they process information. So, therefore, that will help us choose best methods possible. It's also very useful to agree certain standards and goals together with the class. For example, you can discuss any classroom rules together with the children, the ways of behavior, the rules of behavior together with the children, to put them carefully and beautifully together with the poster paper and hang it out in the classroom. And then, when they misbehave, you can easily point to the list of rules you've developed together with them and point your pattern. So you agree with this one, and that will the kids therefore will be more motivated to follow certain rules and certain standards. It's also very important to relate what you teach in the classroom to what is outside the classroom. So, for example, if kids go to a math lesson, so they learn to count. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. It's very easy to find the implementation of the knowledge somewhere outside the classroom. So they can count the number of sweets parents gave them or someone else gave to them. They can count their toys, so they can to see what they can count, and that's okay. With the English language, that's not that simple. With the English language, especially if this is the 3rd grade, and if this is a school which does not specialize in foreign languages, and kids have only 1 hour of English a week, It's very difficult to relate what they learn with real life. That's why thinking of other activities like projects we are going to discuss today, so we'll let them use the knowledge they acquired during the lesson outside the classroom. Doing a project, for example. And effective teaching is based on the approach which is called Let's Learn Together Today. And when we can imagine behind this approach, we can see a very enthusiastic and very happy teacher, because this is a great joy to do the work, which could be both interesting and you see that the kids you work with also enjoy what you are doing. So now, let's discuss what projects are, and the question for you, now I'm expecting your answers in the chat box, and the question is, what do you usually understand, what do you usually associate with the word project? So if someone says project, what associations do you usually have? Okay, creativity, creative teamwork, fun, good. Feedback, discovery, posters, cooperation, research. So very quickly, I cannot read everything. Practice, good. Work, collective work, good. Cooperation, ideas, discovery, games, achievements, create new ideas, teamwork, final product, yes. Research, cooperation, practice, outcome, great. Some ideas, great made product. Brains, good. Thank you very much. So, you know what my association is? So, that experience. My association with project is experience. So, because project word is a part of experiential learning or learning through projects. So, and it is tried and tested, it is a tried and tested way of motivating children by doing what they naturally like doing and avoiding what they usually avoid doing. So it's an approach which is founded on pedagogical principles, and it addresses the needs of the whole child. So the child approach. So is that we develop not only the knowledge of the English language. So while doing the project, we also develop the child intellectually, physically, socially, emotionally, morally, and so on. So we develop the whole child, not just the knowledge of the English language. And this is why it is so great. Good. So, and children are also given an opportunity to produce work which is personal, individual, and which reflects their own ideas, interests, and their opinions are asked and valued. Again, this is one more reason why projects are so great. So projects are also connected to other content areas. So Khalil. I won't talk about Khalil right now. I'm pretty much sure that we will meet some other time online to talk about Khalil. So Khalil is content and language integrated learning. This is an approach to teaching a foreign language, where you teach a foreign language and subjects from school curriculum at the same time. For example, mathematics and English, science and English, physics and English, and the examples I'm going to show you today. These are subjects from lessons, content language integrated learning. What's special about project work? So let's discuss it point by point. First of all, it integrates the language. So target language, like grammar and vocabulary, can be planned to fit naturally into the project. So, for example, I'm having a topic family with the kids. I'm doing through this topic right now. So when we talk about family, we do a vocabulary. So family member names like dad, mom, sister, brother. It's for example the first grade. If I mention these are first graders. So dad, mom, sister, brother. So we usually talk about age, right? So my mom is 24, for example. So we also introduce their names. My mother's name is Vera, for example. So, and the grammar we can practice is present verb, present tense of the verb be, right? What project can we create? For example, we can ask the kids to create a family tree mobile, you know, like mobile, a thing hanging from the ceiling. So you can use a coat hanger, and pieces of cotton on which they stick faces of their family members and hang them on this coat hanger and create a mobile. And then they will introduce these mobiles by saying, this is my sister, her name is Ola, she is 12, for example. And this is going to be a very simple project, but while presenting this project, the kids will practice the language need. Okay, good. The team has already used this project with the pupils. That's great. So there also should be a specific outcome or an end product. It is very important that the children have something to show at the end of the project. So, for example, a family tree mobile. So, and there will be some more ideas on another slide. So we'll discuss what end products might be. So, our project should be real. They probably published, can be public announced, they can be used or read by others. You should try to make the end product as real and personal and special as possible, so that the children could feel their project work is valued. So, and also very important to understand that the children who do the project, the teacher's work is to plan the project carefully. There are some things to consider before doing a project. So let's have a look at them. So, first of all, you should think about the aim of the project work. It shouldn't be just, I want to do a project work. It should be, okay, I want to work on the team spirit of our kids. That's why I will do this project with them. Okay, I want them to personalize what we've learned. That's why I'll do the project with them. So, or I want them to practice present simple, and this project will be perfect to do that. I want them to understand how they can use the language outside the classroom, or how can they use the language to learn something else. That's why I'll do the project. So think about the aim. So you should also think about materials and resources. The materials you will need them, and the children will need in order to do the project. The organization of the workload is very much important as well. So how long will it take to do the project? Will it be 1 lesson, 2 lessons, 10 minutes every lesson, or in a series of 10 lessons? Or probably I will lead to the project, and the project work will be a homework for the students. So it's very important to understand that too. The learner's experience level is also very important, and it influences the end product, because if these are first graders, probably you won't ask them to do any end product which involves a lot of writing. But if these are fourth graders, why not? And learner's ability to write is really very much connected to the previous one. As for the experience level, one remark, it's very useful to go to the subject teacher. For example, if you think the project about geography, so could you go to the geography teacher and ask, what do the kids know? For you to use it as efficient as possible. And the final product. So is it going to be a poster, a mobile, a presentation, a book, an invention? Or there can be plenty. Evaluation of the project work is also one of the crucial questions, because shall I evaluate only the language? Shall I evaluate the end product? Both. It's a question to you to consider after the presentation as well. So, but to my mind, it's both. So kids do the end product, they use the language to present the end product. Probably that would be wise to evaluate the language and the product. But okay. Teamwork is assessed. Great. So, for those who joined us a little bit later, so one notice. If you have any technical problems, like problems with the sound, or you do not see the slides, or anything, could you please write to Dmitro Kolesnik, who is one of the panelists. So, or to all participants, for us, for him to be able to see that you are experiencing the problem, and then he will be able to help. Very much. Good. Now let's discuss what kind of ad products can children produce. For example, it may be a wall display. So it may be posters or collages, and children all contribute a part to making a whole class and product, like a wall display. All the kids participate in that. So it may be a report or a presentation, and it shouldn't be very complicated. It should be very simple. It should be a very simple chart in a way of report. So I will show you an example for you to see what how it may look like. So, and surely the amount of language in the report representation will be different depending on the level of students' language and experience and abilities. So they can also produce a booklet or a guide. So with pictures or drawings or simple words if these are first or second graders, and with something with more writing if it is third, fourth, sixth graders. It can be also an invention. And here, could you please just, there is, if you see Trevor's Monster Making Challenge, there was a competition in Cambridge about Trevor, a monster from one of our course books. And the kids were asked to create a monster. And this was teaching children the importance of social values, such as making friends, because the kids were making friends for the Trevor, the monster from the kids' books, and also the importance of recycling, because all these monsters were created from the waste we usually throw away, like plastic bottles and plastic plates and forks and straws and so on and so forth. So this also is, this was a competition, but that also could be done in a form of a project, kind of project. So it also can be a model. For example, you can teach the children rooms in a house, or just a room or and furniture in the room. You can ask them to take cardboard and paper and glue and to create a model of a room and to put different furniture there, so many rooms, and then they will be explaining those rooms to each other. It can be a photo story or a video created by kids, magazine, newspaper, probably for more adult, for bigger young learners, not very young learners, but for kids aged 11 or 12. And also be a whole event. So, for example, a show, a pantomime, fashion show, for example, if you learn names of clothes, you can create a fashion show. It can be a party, another exhibition, whatever. Now let's move on to examples. The examples will be from Supermind series. So, in the first example, I welcome you to a science lesson for the fourth grade. So this will be to integrate areas of curriculum through English science. So we are going to practice present simple animals and action verbs with the kids. So, and before we ask the kids to do the project, we should prepare them for the project. And let me show you how you can do that. So, the lesson is about food chains and habitats. You can begin with an egg. So, a question to you. Could you please answer in chat boxes? Who eats eggs for breakfast? But imagine that you are kids from the 4th grade. What possible answers might there be? That England, any cats eat eggs? Birds, crocodiles, snakes, good. My mom, good. English people, good. Parents, me, good. That's right. People, dogs eat eggs, okay. Good. Everyone who likes eggs, good. So, parents, adults, granny. Englishmen, my family. English people, good. See, you add cultural component. Dinosaurs, wow. Who doesn't? Wow. Ukrainians, probably yes. Brother, thank you very much. So, you show them an egg, and they gave you plenty of ideas who eats eggs for breakfast. And now, you ask them the next question. So, where does an egg come from? So, where does an egg come from? Hen. like that, right? Yes, depending on what word they know, they can say either chicken. Sometimes they say chicken if they know the word chicken from the market. Good idea. So, but fridge duck. Yes, it can be duck. That's why it's better not to use the ready-made presentation like I'm using, but to use blackboard and chalk and to use this activity as brainstorming. Right. Sorry, so I wanted to ask you the next question. So what does an eat? Usually the answers are grains, corn, and so on. Seeds, right, good. What makes seeds grow? Or what makes grain grow? What rain, sun, and rain, sun. Okay, I have only one variant here. Okay, and thus you show kids that everything in this world is connected to each other. Then you read a very simple text which explains what chains are. So we all need energy to grow, jump, run, and play. That's where we practice action verbs. So we get our energy from the food we eat. That's why we often feel weak and tired when we are hungry. Animals also get their energy from food, and different animals eat very different things. So, and then they draw lines. Like lizards eat insects, insects eat grass, and snakes eat not only eggs, snakes also eat frogs. Right, thank you very much for all your answers there. Good. So, you show the chains, and then you show them bigger chains. You say the chains can be bigger. For example, grass is food for rabbits, and rabbits can be food for foxes. And then you show them different animals and plants, and you can ask them to draw arrows to identify those food chains, different habitats, and thus, during the next lesson, you lead them to the notion of a habitat, what a habitat is. So this is a place where an animal lives. So, very simple definition and very understandable definition. So, you can ask them what habitats they know. Moreover, do not answer right now. Moreover, you can ask them to say what habitats exist in Ukraine. So, what habitats in Ukraine can you think of? Give me your answers. Habitats from Ukraine. In Ukraine. Forests, right. Wood, forest. Blue, steppe, garden, good. Fields, mountain, Policia, great. Okay, good. Jungle in Ukraine. Lakes, good. Sea, we do have a sea. Mountains, good. River, yes, mentioned. Meadows, good. Ponds, yes, we do have ponds. So, valleys, someone wrote valley there, yes, that's also right. Hills, we do have hills. Zoo, wow, it might be a habitat. I would also say that our room is also a habitat for some animals, maybe a habitat, okay. Good, that's right. And you will lead them throughout your lessons to a final project. The project where they can draw habitats. They also stick photographs of different habitat features, like rocks and grass or seaweeds, like here in the picture. They draw a card pictures for the food chains and stick the pictures to make a food chain. And then while presenting, they will tell you what habitat it is, what animals live in this habitat, and the food chain they form. This also would be a very cool idea if you divide this into several groups, give them different habitats, Ukrainian habitat, that would be a best idea to give them Ukrainian habitats and let them draw the habitats, create the posters for the habitats of different Ukrainian habitats. So I think that would be best idea. Okay, that's up to you. They can do one and the same habitat, and then there will be a possibility to compare. Okay. Thank you for appreciating my idea, Oksana. Good. So, about spoiling books. I'm not talking about spoiling books by cutting pictures from them. I actually think more about different magazines and probably printouts from the computer, not by cutting books. So as a representative of a publisher, I'm highly against cutting books for that purpose. It's better to print out from the computer, to print out pictures, to cut out from them, or to use magazines. Students like drawing, yes, that's also a good idea to ask them to draw. So here, actually, they can also stick photographs, they can do cutouts, so that's up to them. So a lot of ideas, as you can see. Good. So, let's go on. Now, welcome to Maths and History. So, I will skip the historical part of the lesson. So, we will talk about numbers. Numbers and the question for practicing will be present simple. So, magic with numbers. Now, let's have a look at one magical thing you can do with figures and numbers. Good. So this activity is called 3, 3, always 3. So now let's follow. Could you follow the task? Do not write down in a chat box. Just take a piece of paper or a calculator or a calculator in your mobile phone, and just do the actions on the screen, or I will read them out. So, first of all, write a number between 1 and 20, any number. It can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do not write them into the chat boxes. So just count. Just choose a number. Double the number. Double the number. Then add 6 to the number. Add 6 to the number. Then divide the number by 2. Divide the number by 2. And subtract the original number. For example, you choose the number 5. 5 doubled to is 10. Plus 6 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And if we subtract the original number, what do you have? Do you have 3? Okay. If you have anything else than 3, then there is something wrong. So it should be 3. So probably if you have any other number, then you miscalculated somewhere, because if you choose the number between 1 and 20, the answer is always 3. And you can do this with kids, and you can practice very simple language, plus, minus, divide. So it's better to use. That would be a very good lesson for third graders, fourth graders, even fifth graders. A math lesson. So this is not as simple language as plus, minus. You can use will add, divide, subtract. It means that this lesson or this activity, it's better to use this activity with the kids aged 10, 11, 12. This is not the only puzzle which exists with numbers. You can also use some any numbers. We have plenty of them, and to play with the kids. Okay. So, the picture of Pisano Fibonacci. Do you know who Pisano Fibonacci is? Any ideas? No. Okay. So, math, yes, good. It's not, this is not connected with Pisano, I think, but I might be wrong. So, I know Pisano Fibonacci. The sequence, so when he's written the sequence, I will talk about that a little bit, about the sequence. So this is a mathematician who brought Arabic numbers to Europe. So those numbers you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Arabic figures, they were brought to Europe by Pisano Fibonacci. So this is one thing this person is famous for, and another thing, I've seen someone wrote it. This is this Fibonacci sequence. Can you continue it? Can you see the principle and continue the sequence and write 2 more numbers to the sequence? 5. 55, 89, that's right. So this is the sequence. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5, and so on and so forth. So this is the sequence of numbers created by Pisano Fibonacci. I first read about Pisano Fibonacci while reading a book by Dan Brown, The Code. So this sequence is mentioned there, is one of the clues. So she got on her way to I. Okay, good. But anyway, there can be lots of other different sequences, like the first one. 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus is the next one is 10. After 14 goes in, so plus 2 every time. So the next one, when you not double the previous number, 2 double 2 is 4, 4 double 2 is 8, and so on and so forth. Then 5, then the next sequence plus 5 all the time, plus 10 is 15. And on. The next one is plus 11. So, and the logical prompt here is to ask kids to create their own sequences. I didn't go to miss out numbers, so to prepare puzzles for each other, and then to swap sequences with another player and work out the missing numbers. So this is the project you can do with it. But first, you should introduce the sequences, show how those sequences work, play with the sequences, and then, okay, now do the same. So at the end product, be a sequence puzzle, so to say. And well, today is a science lesson, but now it's going to be connected with body and sports. Good. In this lesson, now I'm going to show you some experiments, projects you can do with the kids to show them how much air we have in our lungs, and also to investigate how sports influences breathing, the importance of doing sports. So first of all, we'll start with what breathing in and breathing out is. So actually here for this lesson, you introduce 3 words to the kids, like new words. So this will be breathing, breath, and lungs. The chest. Chest is also might be a new word for them. Okay. Chest, lungs, breathing, without. Okay. So, and you show them again a very simple text. So, which says that when you do sport, you often breathe a lot. When you breathe, the air moves in and out of the lungs. You put your hands under your chest and see what happens when you breathe in and out. And here, you ask all the kids to put the hand on the chest and to start breathing. Show how the chest moves. Then you ask them to take balloons. Now you're going to say, different people, girls and boys, adults, have different amount of air. Let's measure how much air you got in your lungs. And this is an experiment to do, illustrated here with pictures, but also there is a very clear instruction of what you and kids will do all together. Remember, effective learning. We do everything as a team. We do everything all together. The teacher is an active participant of the learning process as well. The teacher doesn't sit aside, watching, observing. The teacher participates. So they write down how tall you are. They take a balloon and they take a deep breath and then blow all the air from their lungs into the balloon. They ask a friend to tie a string. They measure it around and they write down the result. So, and they will notice the boys probably have more air in lungs than girls. So taller boys have more air in lungs than shorter boys, and so on. So this is also a very interesting project, and very engaging. So the kids usually really very much engaged in measuring and writing down. And this is, you see that table on the last picture, this is a report they will share, very simple report. So it should be, like several pages of written work to call it a report. Just the report of results. So another thing you can do as a part of the project is to count how many times you breathe in 1 minute and the number. So they run on the sport. So if you don't want the kids running the sport, usually running on the sport is a good idea for classrooms because there is no place for running and doing physical activities. But as you're going to work in summer camps, then probably you will have more opportunities to do real sports with the kids. So you count how many times they breathe in a minute and they write down the results and write down. Then they do physical exercises for a certain period of time, and then they count how many times they breathe for 1 minute after doing physical activity, and then they write down the number. They time their friends. So, and then they show the results, again, the report in a form of a barcode. Again, very simple idea. They draw a barcode, but instead of drawing the cells, they use stickers. Orange one for the result while standing, and the green one for the result while after running or doing physical activity. See that probably Ella does sports regularly because the results are not that much different. You see, when people, if they are not trained, yes, they tend to have more problems with breathing after physical education. And those people who are trained, and kids who are trained, they will probably, their results will not differ that much. So I think that the most sportive child here is Ella, the least proof is few. Thank you for your feedback. That's nice activity. So this is what you can do as well. So I'm coming to an end. So, and before I finish, I would really like to finish with the words by the author, using the picture of Herbert Puchta on the slide. And this is his effective remark. Language learning is not just about languages. It's about how the brain remembers best, about the content that appeals to the students. It's about helping students to feel they can do it. Herbert Puchta, Simple Minds. Now, where you'll be able to get the results. Tomorrow, not wait for my letters today. Tomorrow, during the day, I will send you your certificates of attendance together with links to materials. So in these materials, you will find several projects with all the teacher's notes, with the audio, and with the student book pages, with everything you need to do the project in summer camps. You will also have several drama sketches for acting them out. So a short one and a longer one. And we'll also have some songs for the youngest students. Thank you very much. So if you would like to look through material, so if you feel that that's not enough, so we do have more materials, but what I am allowed to give you so have been confirmed by Cambridge. So if you need more, could you please contact our official distributor in Ukraine, Lingvist company. The Lingvist company works throughout Ukraine, so you may contact them no matter where you live and where you are from. And also, if you have any other questions to me personally, all of you, I know for sure, already have my mobile phone. There's my email address, elzalvovska@cambridge.org. You can go to cambridge.org/Cambridge English website to look through very many materials which you'll be able to use. And also don't forget to like our page on Facebook. I'll really appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed the webinar. Thank you very much. And now, if you have any questions, down. And if I don't, it's because you write all together and everything changes quickly. Just a moment. If you have any questions. Also, I'm recording this webinar, and together with the other links, you will receive the recording of the webinar. So this is to the question for all of you were asking whether you will be able to receive PowerPoint presentation. No, you will not receive the PowerPoint presentation, but you will have the video of the webinar.